Hi, folks. Welcome back to It's All a Show. Today, we're going to talk about this spending bill. 1,500 pages. I mean, if you've seen this thing, take a picture at it, Google it, see what it looks like. It is huge. It's massive. But one of the funny things I always find funny about Congress, is that there's always somebody that comes along with legislation and decides, "Ooh, this is the perfect time for me to cram my bill in this other bill so that my other brothers and sisters here in Congress will not know, but it'll be beneficial to all of us," right? So we see this repeatedly throughout Congress's time in history, that they will have a budget bill that needs to be passed so that the government can be funded, right? It can fund itself and they're able to pay their bills. The one thing that bothers me is that they keep doing these little short intervals, right? So they want to do it for up to 3 months. Like, instead of really sitting down, and then here's a task that really should be for Speaker Johnson. You guys really should just sit down and get a spending bill completely done instead of doing it in these short terms, because you guys are doing this purposely just for your own benefits so that you guys can get more things out of this, and literally do it for 12 months so that for a full year the government's funded and the laws and the bills stand. And I know why, from a strategy standpoint, why you guys don't do this anymore, but that's really what should happen. Instead of doing these little short bills, 3 months, 6 months, 3 months, 2 months, whatever it is, this should just be hammered out. And that means you guys need to take a pause, a timeout, sit down, and actually work out a legit spending bill. And we get it. There's other projects that are needed in different states. You got different members. They come before that. This is all the hustle that takes place within Congress, which is what you guys normally do anyway. But this spending bill, this budget bill, should never be a part of that. It shouldn't be part of the gimmick. It shouldn't be part of the show. Now, if you had a bill that was due, that was coming to the floor, something you were working on, and you wanted to be a part of this, then maybe you should sit with your colleagues before just cramming it in there and say, "Hey, look, I've been working on this bill. It's, the spending bill's due. It's coming up. I would like it to be a part of that." And then as a role as a speaker or the head member of Senate, you guys didn't need to decide, look, this could derail the next spending bill. Let's see if this bill can stand alone by itself and get the voting support from your colleagues here, or because if not, this could crash the next bill. But you guys don't think logically. You don't think efficiently. You guys think about the money that you guys are making consistently. So one of the biggest problems that you guys did not pay attention to, apparently, this past election, why this election went the way it did. The American people are struggling, even with Biden's great economy. And we know that this economy on paper, it's incredible, right? What it's done compared to other nations and other economies out there. It made a complete turnaround after COVID. Say what you want to say. This is not politics here. We're talking about literally, if you think of this as a business, when we look at data, the business is doing really well, right? But the problem that you have, that is beneficial, yes, to the nation, but the everyday person is not feeling it in their pocket. And you know why that is because even though with us trying to get inflation back down to what it was just post-COVID, according to the Federal Reserve, and we think that's a safe place to have the inflation, okay, goods and products have not come down. And that is where you step in, Congress. And you guys forget, when you guys punch out and go home, yeah, you might be a sitting member of Congress, but at the end of the day, you're still a human being. You still have your own household that needs to be run. And even though you might even be living comfortably financially, let me ask you, do you like spending more for goods if you didn't have to? Let's talk about your wallet. Do you like spending more? If you know that let's just say your car, for example. Car's been running good. Suddenly now you got to bring it in for service. it's at its 30,000 mile whatever, and now these recommendations come out for your vehicle. And we all know that inflation went up. The cost of labor for cars have gone up, right? And things of this nature. So now you get hit with the bill. So although, yes, you have the money, you could just, with a pen, sign off on a check, boom, here you go, pay, and it's done because you have the means to do that. But honestly, if you are willing to do that, that means you're just willing to spend the American people's money carelessly. But if you really are watching your wallet and you see that, damn, since the last time I was here, this is insane that this is costing this much. Then your next initiative is when you go punch in to go back to work, should be like, look, we need to get this under control. Like the private sector is, I think, taking a little bit more of advantage of the American people. And then you start digging deep. Now I have clips here of the senator from Missouri, and he does such a wonderful job on TikTok, by the way, that you guys everyone agreed to sign and try to ban. Okay, his face is plastered everywhere. We see him grilling CEOs, rough and hard, right? Well, how many of you are like him? And even if you're not doing it in front of the camera, are you doing it privately? Are you really standing up to some of the CEOs and the private sector and saying, hey, look, you guys came up with tactics to take further advantage of the profits you guys are already getting of the American people. And this is not a good practice. And I'm gonna pass a bill or get a bill passed through Congress to make this illegal. You can't do these things because in all honesty, this hurts all of us. Even yourself. Even though, yeah, you're making profits and you, this, that, and the other, you may not feel it. You may have the means to just kick $1 or $2 down the road without even a blink of an eye. But honestly, it still costs you. That's the crazy part about it. Even as a CEO and they're making millions, that still comes out of your own pocket because you yourself have to pay. So why would you logically allow for something like this to happen? Because they obviously wasn't thinking logically when they decided they just wanted to come up with ways to take advantage of the American people. But this bill itself was not thought out. And I agree with Elon Musk when he says that, look, if you guys vote on this bill in favor for it, come 2 years from now, 2026, midterm elections, I think the American people should literally vote you out of office. It needs to come down to the American people legit pulling together and understanding that you people have a job to do and a responsibility to us to do the things that are necessary and not just randomly keep putting us in further debt. You guys keep swiping our credit card like literally, like there's just unlimited amount of money, and it's not. And then for what we work for in the private sector, when we work in the private sector, we can't make enough to balance our budget for our households, for the ones that aren't making six figures. So let's understand, when you guys vote no on this bill, because that's what you guys are going to do the next day or so, before you take your holiday breaks, hopefully you guys come up with a solution and pull some of this stuff out. It wasn't even that long ago you guys tried to give yourself that very same pay raise not too long ago with the last budget bill that you guys passed. That was only a temporary bill. And your colleagues threw whoever that is under the bus. My suggestion is whoever it is that keeps trying to pass that, the head members of Congress need to sit him down or her down and say, listen, we're not doing that. Do not try to bring this bill back up for some time until we're able to see to it that the American people are getting themselves back on their feet. Don't ask for another raise. Don't keep trying to put this bill in this bill. And that's not the only thing that was in there. There was other things that was in there. Now look, there was money in there for the Washington Commanders to get a new stadium. That shouldn't be in there. You know why that shouldn't be in there? Again, that's the private sector. The new owner of the Washington Commanders, he should find a way, just like Jerry Jones did for the Cowboys, right? And just like the Giants and Jets did for MetLife, and the LA Rams and Chargers did out in LA. You want a new stadium? Find another way, but the American people, the taxpayers, should not have to pay for that, for their own entertainment. It's just, that's not cool. It's things like this, like I said, legit. You guys need to sit down and think about it before trying to cram this stuff in there. And the reason why that shouldn't be in there is because, look, if the District of Columbus want to give their fans a new stadium, then that should come out of their pockets, not out the entire nation's pocket. We shouldn't be paying for that. So that should not be in that budget bill whatsoever. And this is why it's important that you guys, if you're not reading the bill itself, but you basically have somebody in your office read it and they brief you, you need to really make the time necessary to sit down with them and get the briefing before you have to go and vote on the bill. Take your job a little seriously. You all can do better, every single one of you, but you need to understand something. If you guys are choosing to not do better, then the American people are going to choose to do better. And that is to make sure you guys are pushed out of office in one shape or form. You're worrying about fundraising and donations for the next election. And in all honesty, if you're real good at your job, you'll get the funding that you need without needing, you don't really need the private sector for that. You may think you do, but you don't. Whoever lied to you when you first ran for office, told you have to go that way, is probably lying to you, because in all reality, if you really run a campaign really well, you have good people around you, you'll do well. But it's also going to be based off the work that you're putting in. And if you took your work seriously and you wanted to be the best of the best, then you will absolutely get the work done, because that's what you're there to do. And so I'm going to leave it there about this spending bill. You guys need to legit not do a 3-month bill. It needs to be a 12-month bill, and it needs to be done. This is the most frustrating thing that keeps constantly coming up, and it comes up multiple times throughout one single year instead of 12 months. It's just crazy. So to the Speaker Johnson, we know what's going to happen to this bill now. It's going to basically die out. My suggestion is you guys pull out the things that you know do not belong in that bill whatsoever. Pass the budget and the bill that need to be done so that people can get the relief they need, which should have been done over a month ago from hurricanes. You guys didn't want to call anybody back off their break to do it then, so it's being done now. But legit, get it done, guys.